Hi, everybody. Hello, Devin.
Hi, I've got the blinding light from this window behind me. Holy cow. I don't think there's much I can do to solve that one.
No, that's pretty bright, dude.
Let's see. Can I? No, my
Nice.
camera won't go any further. I could put it on my other monitor if the quote
It's fine.
cable was longer.
You
Fine,
can
I'm
put your head
ahead of
right,
me.
right there.
Ta-da.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our Tavern Talk that is focused on PTR. It's finally time. So we are super stoked. It has been a long time coming. I want to kick things off by just talking about kind of what we're going for, how we're organizing these PTRs, what's going to be new. We'll do a little tiny bit of overview, and then we actually want to do a demo as well, just ahead of time. So I think Jared's going to join us in a bit too, and for the
I
demo.
need to make sure
And
that it looks like he's in
overall,
here.
to catch people up who may or may not be aware, so the next version of Ilysia that's coming out takes place in a new content, new lands. Wrath of Balramos is happening. The Balramos destroyed Ainur, and now we're moving into a new area. So the story picks up for PTR is post the Balramos events. So new lands, getting established in a new area, and kind of making their mark in this new land and getting along with the locals. So that's where Lavea, or that's the island of Lavea, and that's where the new PTR and Ilysia is heading as now kind of the main story pieces are coming in. And you'll see more about that in the future as we get through. We are staging the PTRs this time in chunks of content. So this first PTR that's coming today is focused on the first two zones of the area along with the tutorial. And we want to focus our testing. We'll be providing a list of like kind of what's new for what we want to get tested. And we did a couple goofy things like we sped up XP really fast. So you level super fast in that. So like it's gonna feel super unbalanced, but we did that for a reason. It's just let's get through the content super quickly and try and test mechanics over balance and XP and stuff like that. That's not the scope of this PTR. So there's like a new tutorial area. There's a new town. There's new questing zones. And then you get the hints of like the storyline kind of coming up. And we've got a few awesome little things to test, from a new login scene up through changes that have been a long time coming, like the fact that wardens have pets that actually do stuff now. Things that kind of help gameplay a little bit. We've got the new tutorial areas. We've got new UI for the NPCs, new UI for quests. We've got the entire island of Lavea. Although you will notice that NPCs, gatherables, content mobs have been disabled for everything past Zone 2. You guys are going to be free to explore and run around the entire landmass of Lavea, but the stuff to do, since we're scoping it for the PTRs, is only going to be in the first two zones. We've got quick slots that you'll see for the first time. Comfort settings for quick slots you'll see it the first time. Things that don't zipper into your backpack anymore, so it's like more VR. Like you actually reach out and grab something off of a table, and your quick slots will have like a spot that you can say like, okay, I want to throw this in my backpack really quick, so you can just drop it in the backpack zone in front of you. We've got new stamina, NP, HP on your wrist now, so it's not in the way. We've got the wrist menu itself is now button activated, so you can turn your wrist towards you and click it and see what you want or put it away if it's kind of in the way. We've got professions and profession leveling now. So fishing is now a skill that you actually have to level up. And it's, kind of like other MMOs. It's not based on your character level, it's based on your level in that profession. And if you want to go up in profession, then fish more. On that, we've got cooking. We have recipe discovery. Our version of cooking is you may get hints from other players or maybe find things in the world that tell you about different recipes, but try cooking, try mixing things, different meats you find off of animals, different herbs you find in the world, those type of things, and you will discover new recipes. It'll feel a lot like, recipes have diminishing returns. If you have simple recipes, you're not going to level up your cooking over time just making a bunch of simple recipes. There are 35 different cooking recipes in the entire landmass of Lavea, but again, you're only going to be focused on those first 2 zones, so you're not going to be able to discover all 35 of those recipes. But we've got the cooking minigame itself. We've got a new skill training nexus, which is a new way of doing the UI for skills. Airship tower elevators that go up and down. We've got, just lots of new little things to play with. Most everything has been revamped to just feel better, be smoother. Then, of course, we want to test like the main story missions in Zone 1 and Zone 2 in the tutorial. Then there's tons of side quests that need testing as well. General combat, general movement. You won't get a glider in PTR 1, but you will in PTR 2 because it'll be the next chunk of content, so you can dial up that and have fun with it. So, I mean, there's so much more in there. It's hard to sum up almost a year of work in like one little like blurb. But this lays the groundwork for where we're going with the game, and that's kind of the reason behind all of this is, less of a tech demo, less of ideas, and more concrete directionality on where we're going for this game. True kind of return to roots as the MMO. There's still things we're doing that will be coming as new features in the next PTR that you'll see. We're just not going to talk about those yet. Yeah, there are some things that are, like I said, that are out of scope for this PTR. Like I said, content past Zone 2, XP and progression, gear stats, that kind of stuff. We're not worried about that. We want feature testing, crashes, those kind of bugs are what we're looking for in this, and of course for people just to have fun. Bug reporting for the PTR will be the same as we do today. There's the bug reporting forum in Discord, and it would be super awesome if we kept bugs there. Screenshots, videos, if you want to put them and paste them into the media when you're filing a bug, help us so much. Just kind of where you were, kind of what you're doing. I can't stress enough how much media helps the team track things down, and then less reaching out and bugging people also, so they just get faster results. But yeah,
I want to call out a couple
Devin, do you want to
specific
add
things.
something?
We've got some specific feedbacks that we've waffled back and forth internally on, like, do we want to do this way or that way, or how do we want to handle it? So with our quick slots, we have been thinking a lot about how we want to present those to players, and in discussing it all, just about everybody in the team has a different opinion on it. Some folks are like, quick slots are goofy and I don't like them, but I enjoy the functionality. I just don't like the way they're presented, because right now they're floating in front of you and you can reach forward and grab them, and there's settings to adjust them and make them feel better, but some of us don't like them at all. And then Xander had that idea of doing them on the wrist and letting them be a part of your wrist UI, so that you could maybe have a radial menu that comes up whenever you hold a button, and then you can just reach forward, grab the thing, and then it closes. As well as I think all of our long-term players will notice very, very quickly that you can't grab things from your shoulders anymore. And that's another thing we want feedback on, is like, I want that back. And I think we're going to work on that very quickly, as well as, because of the introduction of quick slots, you now have things on your hips as well. And we kind of want to get feedback from everybody on what their favorite way to interact with getting their equipment is, because we've got 3 different ways that we can think about it right now. And I think a lot of folks are going to have different input on that. As well as we're thinking about our HUD UI. You'll notice that it is different whenever we show the demo off in a little bit with Jared. We have toyed with the idea of, and are testing, putting it on your wrist. Currently, it's included with the wrist UI that's on your left wrist. That's like always on right now, just to like, hey, look at it and see if you like that. We're thinking about putting it on the other wrist, which is going to get a little bit more polish and do some other things. As well as we also still have the one that floats in front of you, because we want folks to be able to compare and give feedback. So we know that those things are going to be a little bit confusing right now, and folks are going to probably be like, why is this the way it is? It's because we want feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. And the calibration and player calibration is one thing that we've touched a lot. But in a VR game, having your UI of your quick slots in front of you is not the same experience for everybody, and that's why we want to get people to test. Like, if you go into the comfort settings page in the codex, you can move your wrist slots up and down in space in front of you, how far away they are for interaction. You can control their tilt. You can even control their spread. And so we want people to kind of play with those options and see if they like having those comfort options, or maybe they want different ones. That kind of feedback is good too. Like we love people's ideas or kind of what feels good. So it's a really good call out, Evan. Like play with things, see how you like them. It's super important.
Yeah, that's what this is all about. We want feedback on the way that you interact with some of the new things, as well as a little bit of help spotting some of the interactions that we can improve on.
Yeah.
The entire interaction
and
system
like
for the game has changed.
Yeah, there's some visual things that you'll notice too. Like in here, like every NPC is kind of the same right now in the world, and that's intentional because we're still, we're getting all the NPCs dressed still. So like visual stuff like that, unless there's something glaring, is not really what we're looking for right now. We're aware. But if you see something super odd, you can call it out, please.
Yeah, we've also noticed. Well, so y'all will find out very quickly. We have switched because of the way that we switched our interaction system. Nothing is like just a slate that you hold in your hand anymore or anything like that. Everything that we want you to be able to interact with. Some of the unique things are unique objects that you hold, and they have to have their pose set up and different settings adjusted. And there are some carryovers from the previous version of the game that might still be missing their setup for those things. And so you could be holding an object that is too small and looks goofy in your hand and is floating above your hand or something like that. We keep spotting those all over the place and adjusting them as we find them. So don't worry too much about reporting those things because we're specifically looking for them internally ourselves. One good example of that is once we'll probably see it whenever Jared cooks food. The default food thing is a plate full of different goodies, and somewhere along the way of making some changes, it got shrunk and it's tiny in your hand and it sparkles. So now we have a cute sparkly plate of food anytime you cook something.
It's a fabulous plate of food. Yep.
But yeah, that stuff we don't necessarily need feedback on, and we want to make sure that we're calling out some of these things that we know about and are searching for ourselves so that you guys can focus on reporting the things that we can't spot and haven't been able to. Cool.
Awesome.
Well,
thank you, Devin. Should we get a demo going?
I think it's demo time. Sweet. It looks like we've got your stream up. Good to go.
Can everybody see in here?
And if you want it to be big, you can click on his thing. And
I don't know if you click on his picture, it gets bigger.
The features are a little bit different from normal Discord calls, but you should be able to just click on it and make it bigger. Okay, so hey, we are in our tutorial keep, and we just kind of wanted to show off that, like, hey, even in this tutorial keep, you're going to be able to just pick things up, like our bow on this table is part of the tutorial. So now when you grab it off the table, you've got that tooltip like we're used to, but now you can just put it into your hand. And you can also put them into your quick slots. And Jared just kind of briefly showed off that our quick slots are kind of logically set up in a way that you can't put your bow on your hip. It doesn't work like that. You also can't put your shield on your hip, but swords, wands, axes, scepters, the frying pan.
They're related to your back slots versus your hip slots. And also, I don't know if anybody noticed that when Jared just attacked the target dummy or the combat dummy, a yellow target appeared above its head. We now have a targeting system in Ilysia to help holy people cast spells purposefully on targets. You can use your wrist UI to select both friends and foes around you as the target of your spells. You'll use that for warden combat pets as well to control your pet's actions from your wrist UI and to either get them to cancel commands or to, rocket off after people.
And Val asked, how do I get them to show up in quick slots? They're gaze based, so if you just look down, they show up. So this is showing off some of the interactions that we now have with these quest items. You're able to, for like Farmer Pete's quest, for instance, he wants you to grab his shovel and his hammer. Down to talk. And those objects are now in the world and they sparkle whenever you've got the quest active and you can go pick them up.
Thanks for the comment about the NPCs as well. One of the things that has changed a lot is this is finally getting down to the cohesion of our internal art style. lots of assets that are developed, the clothes, the weapons, those type of things. Like we're finally got our style down, which is awesome. And you'll see that a lot more present in Lavea now, where things kind of follow that same look and feel. Very excited about that too. It just brings a level of cohesion back
Farmer
to the
Pete
game.
is one of the first NPCs that we've kind of finalized his look for. The others are still default guards and whatnot, but he's got his outfit just right.
But you'll notice even in the armor you pick up, like the new equipment in the game, just it generally has that better feeling.
Oh yeah, Jared, will you open your wardrobe and show that off? Ta-da! He's rocking a full bronze plate set.
That is the full set that you can collect in Zone 2, I believe.
I think so. Yep. Now Jared's going to show off some of cooking mechanics. There are these...
Yeah, if you see a fire in this game, it's a heat source. So... Yep.
So he's going to gather a dust cap. And once he's got that in his inventory, he can walk over to the fire and pull out his frying pan and cook it. And we've got a tutorial quest for this that kind of walks you through the steps. Oh, our professions all have their information in the codex, which we will be kind of reworking the codex over time over the next coming months, because we've got a UI redesign for it to make it a little bit more cohesive. But all of your profession leveling stats show up. So when you start cooking, you get this.
Jared had no recipe learned in his book either. He hasn't learned anything, so this is kind of him organically learning a recipe by grabbing a dust cap, getting the cooking timer right on that, and now he's learned the recipe for a cooked dust cap mushroom. And he can go refer to that in his recipe list for what the benefits of those are.
Yeah, and if the mini game requires that you time it right to be in that little green sliver. And if you take it off the fire too early, you don't cook it all the way.
And more complex recipes have, different spots to hit on the dial, different speeds. It becomes skill-based after a minute. As you go up in cooking levels.
Ta-da. And there's our tiny shiny plate.
There's your tiny plate. And now you should have a couple recipes. Yeah, there's the new UI. And then, Jared, show that toggle as well. Like, you can turn on and off the contextual UI from your wrist with that button there. So if you need your quest log or you need whatever and you don't want to look at it all the time, you can hit that hamburger menu button. But there's your party. See how it says entities there? Those are the nearby targeting entities. So any mobs that are within a certain number of yards for you will show up in that list under enemies or under the mobs, and then nearby friendly players will show up. And this is in the future how you can select people specifically for things like trading, that kind of stuff. We haven't put that in yet, but to control what you want to do with both friends and foes around you, use that contextual wrist UI.
Sweet. Okay. I think now we're going to go look at the skill nexus.
So go pop a skill. Yep.
Yeah, we can see what the new skill nexus looks like. We're also going to train for the wolf summon, and we're going to show off kind of how the interaction has changed with that, so that it's a little bit more intentional, and your wolf doesn't just, for lack of a better word, fuck off. They literally just run away. Or they used to just run away.
This is the new skill nexus. So if you find these in a world, this is where you can use your skills. Or not use, I'm sorry, train new skills. As our skill trees grow, you'll see pedestals grow in the game, and which skills you can choose from, especially as they start to cohese into more of a star map of skills, because skills will be related to each other in future builds as well.
So similar, this does draw some similarities to our old system for it. So you're seeing that these skill trees are fairly similar. And now he's got the...
You see a much cleaner new skill UI here.
Yep. Ta-da! And there's
a wolf that's paying attention.
We're going to walk down to the beach and fight some crabs so that we can kind of show off how the interaction works now. Okay, so now that our wolf is here, we have this new context menu for selecting targets. This is for selecting targets for enemies, for sending your pet at. It's also for selecting targets for various targeted spells. It also functions as a way to. We're slowly tweaking our healing spells, for instance. That's what started this whole need for this targeting system. Whenever you want to heal a friendly, the previous healing spells used to kind of just be AoE wherever you cast, and now they're targeted so that you can select someone in your party in your list and cast the healing spell, and it will directly heal them.
Yes, wolves will auto assist what you're attacking. You don't have to specifically tell them. That's if you want to send your combat pet out to do something for you, because the pets all do have functional different skills. Wolves will do multi-target cleave attacks. Bears will taunt and increase their own threat to protect the warden, and the crab will kind of lame in combat but follows you around and provides beneficial heals if you need a little bit of extra healing.
Yeah, it also automatically targets whatever you've attacked.
Yeah.
So if you attack something, your wolf will go hit it as you'd expect it to. Sweet. I think that's pretty much the end of the demo. Kind of.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
The rest of it is content for you guys to go discover and explore the.
Yes, I don't want to show everything
of the region. And we are gonna attempt to limit how much we give everybody access to over the PTR, because we don't want you to just be able to. Everybody's gonna start playing the game and get really excited and want to just play the game. And if you play all the way through the story, you're not really gonna have anything left to play once we go live. So we're kind of trickling the content a little bit and holding back on it. So once we go live, that's the big fun polish thing, and everybody can come in all at once.
Yeah, exactly. And there's certain types the next PTR will include the first dungeon for the zone, which people will be familiar with the layout, but it's new. It's new content.
Jared, can I get you to screen share one more time? Terra Noob made a good request of, hey, show us the hub city, and we were kind of there, but we didn't really look at it, so I think we should walk through it briefly.
And Cam?
Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, let's walk up.
We do have that concept of a centralized hub, though. That's a good call out. One of the things we didn't like that didn't work for us in Region 26, or aka Ainor, is that there was just too many towns, and it was spreading players too much. And so in our new design, as you see new lands, there's going to be like a main hub city that you'll be able to return to. We'll even have options for teleporting back home. Yeah. But there's going to be some conditions around that, so it's not super free and easy, and it's a one-way trip. But helps for getting around the map. But we want players to hang out in towns. We are bringing back the Wenching Whale. It is up on the hill behind Jared where he's walking around. And that's coming back, and you'll notice in future builds there's even more interactive stuff to do in the Wenching Whale. It's more of a hub of places hanging out. There's lots of cook fires there for people to do recipes. It's more of the social area of the game, and so the main towns in each new region will have like a main town hub city instead of a whole bunch of them spread all over the place. Now there will be settlements and quest hubs, but really only one main town.
And our town of Tidehaven has a couple specific things. It's got that tavern. It has the warehouse that Jared was in front of earlier that is currently empty but will become the hub of all of our crafting professions, and that's kind of going to be standard in every hub area so that you come back here to craft. That's kind of the driving force for why you would want to come back to a hub town, is for trade and for commerce.
Yes.
And then as well in Tidehaven is our airship tower with the elevator, and we've got the guild hall is where the mayor likes to hang out.
Yes. Teasing content that's coming later. We think guilds are important. I'm just going to leave it at that. And, for those paying attention that spent a lot of time back in Ainor, you'll notice familiar faces, people that made the trip along with you from from Einor to Lavea. There's some reoccurring NPCs that were part of the old main story, less like Bellamy, exactly. She's here. Bellamy's got a whole new vibe, and she's got other things she's now worried about. But in the main story mission, you will spend a lot of time still talking to Bellamy. Functional airship towers. That has been a request. No more annoying ladders or stairs or ropes or anything, like actual elevators, so you can get up here and wait. Come on, Wolfie. So now Jared's going to show you what happens when you get too far away from your pet. Stop being scared of the platform. It's fine. Oh, that's one other important thing. Look at your middle slots for a second, Jared, again. The 4 middle slots, those are your dedicated consumable slots. You can put any food, potion, anything in there for quick access. One of the also things we have is, Jared, show stack splitting, because this is like a new thing as well. So if you want to give some potions or whatever you want to split apart, you grab the item, you grab that, and you pull apart, and you can get the stack number that you want, and it will tell you that you were successful in doing that. Which people know that's super annoying in current live builds. There's no way to actually split things apart. And if you have a huge number like 99 of something, you'll notice that the stack the splitting mechanic is pays attention and divides the number in an intelligent fashion. So unfortunately, there is a bug right now on this where the airship doesn't actually stop in Tidehaven, but it's more of an adventure game. So think about it as like, what was that name? The Atari game Pitfall. You can, if you time it right, you can jump on the airship because it just doesn't feel like stopping in Tidehaven right now. But you can fly it around, yes, or ride it around, I guess.
All right. Hey, I think that's officially that for the demo. Everything else players can discover as they come into play.
Yeah. Okay, well, the build is available in 28 minutes. It will be live on servers. So we're looking forward for people. Stop teasing us and jump.
Oh wait, the build's available now. I made that announcement a little bit earlier. You can go download it now and prep. The servers will go live after the Tavern talk.
You hit the water from there, Jared? Oh yeah. That's a good end to the demo. Okay. For the rest of the Tavern talk, Devin, is there anything else you want to bring up, or should we just take a couple questions, or
I think that's it. It's kind of just Q&A at this point.
Yeah. We have a few minutes. If anybody wants to ask a question, go for it.
Yeah. Jared, I'm going to boop you off the stage.
Yes, this is the PC VR build.
I can't boop you off the stage. You have to boop yourself.
Yes, you get the XP from your killed pets, or from your pet kills. They're still your entity. Mm-hmm. There are plans to let you drop to trade items with your friends through a UI that does not exist yet. There is going to we totally agree that especially with the introduction of professions, trade is very important. It's just not in this PTR. Yes, there is full voice chat for both cross-platform between Android and PC VR, and it works great. Along with muting people, muting yourself, doing other things. I'm trying to read these as they're scrolling past.
Yeah, Zin asked about party XP sharing, which it is when you're in a party, all XP and all quest progress is shared.
For targeting self on healing, Jared, you can. I don't remember because I went through 2 different versions. There was a one where if you don't have a target assigned, the default is yourself, and then there was also being able to just select yourself as a nearby player. I don't remember which one it is right now, Jared.
The question that Tyler had was, can you, for healing yourself, do you have to select yourself as a target, or do you deselect all targets and then you become the default target?
I have also got questions from the Tavern Talk questions forum that have been sitting around for a little bit since the last Tavern Talk.
That's a good
so I'm gonna
idea.
throw some of them in at the same time. The one that was related to PTR that I saw is, can we stream it?
Yeah, there's nothing. You can record PTR, you can stream PTR. There's nothing associated with that we're gonna bar you from doing.
Yeah. We would appreciate if when you do stream and make videos about it that you let your communities know that it's a PTR, so that when other
Yeah,
people see videos of things being jank and broken, that they understand that that's what you're showing off, is that, hey, this is the janky broken thing. But
right.
other than that, we're chilling. Okay, Jared said if the player has no target, then it will target yourself.
Perfect. Okay. So it is the default. So there's an X in the corner of the targeting wrist UI, and if you hit that X, it just deselects any current targets you have, and that will default back to yourself then. We do not have an official release date. We are still a tiny team. We're using what we're doing now to finally generate the excitement that we need to grow our team. That's what we spent kind of the last year hunkering down doing. Um, we are a handful of people that are passionate about this project, obviously, and continuing to work on it. And we will get a release date when we have a better handle around what we can realistically do for that version 1.0 based on our resources available, both time, people, and money.
Come to my attention that that question was a loaded question apparently for Prey and Sax, because they had a little bet going on which question was to be asked first. So apparently now Sax owes Prey a first live stream of Gunblades when that comes up. So
Uh-oh. Now we're going to have to put Gunblades in the game. Does that mean Sax
It's
just
just going to
can't
be,
get hold of it?
like I said, we just got to put a gunblade in there that only Prey can pick up, and when he fires it, it kills him.
Sax's question that was part of that bet was, will we ever see more modern VR hand gestures?
But so you know what? One thing we'd love feedback on is what hand gestures do you guys want that you think are missing? You know,
Well,
because
so hey, that's fun.
when
Sax made a
when
post about that, showing what
oh,
gestures
okay,
he
cool.
wants.
My
And I
favorite
actually,
version of gestures is actual finger tracking, but we're not quite there yet. Like I would like to be able to just do whatever I'm doing with my hand, like
yeah,
with
our
using finger tracking.
our current system was trying to mimic a little bit the way that Meta's like default stuff kind of works in their menus and in their own applications, where depending on what buttons you're hovering or touching, just closes different parts of your hands. And that seems like that's kind of what Sachs was alluding to in the way that he explained how he wants them to work. But there is a little bit of overlap that I noticed in some of the gestures he mentioned. A lot of them using the same button combinations as each other, that's the difficult part.
Right.
Is when the button combinations start to overlap, we also have to think about how they work on various platforms and various headsets that have different input settings and
Like
whatnot.
core index controller users.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Vive users as well that don't even have all the buttons; they've just got the
Yeah.
touchpads.
Now that the hand gestures we did choose were intentional. Like just the thumb up we chose because you can turn it upside down for no. The finger pointing gesture you can say like, oh, that over there, but it also works when you just walk past somebody, and we've had it in dev calls and stuff like that. We're like, it kind of gives the same impression as the middle finger. So the ones we have are supposed to be overloaded in use, and but we do want to add more.
And we could, as Zach said, read the capacitive part. There are different controllers have different ways that we can read information for it, and we can get into the nitty gritty of like Oculus has touch on their various things, so you don't have to press the button to detect the input, which right now we've avoided because you can accidentally open your backpack when you're trying to gesture, and that's not what we want. So it's a little bit of that, and also a little bit of it's not the focus right now as we work on other features. The big important things that make an MMO an MMO. Which I do wonder if maybe we should talk about a little bit of our plans moving forward. We are going to GDC again like we did last year, and we've kind of got a little bit of a roadmap of where we want to be by then, as well as how we want to start thinking about updates for the future. I know a lot of the questions folks are asking are like, what about this feature that was in the Kickstarter or that feature that was in the Kickstarter? I think right now our main focus is still fully on, firstly, we need to flesh out our content for the new region. And we're also thinking about crafting a lot more. We've been discussing a lot about potentially introducing the flat UI versions of crafting in the meantime, as we also continue to work on the VR versions, like how we can put things in our frying pan for cooking, but as we introduce early versions of other things, it might just be walking up to somebody, clicking on them, and here's a flat UI, because that missing functionality kind of makes the game just less populated with things to do, and we want to give players things to do so that there are reasons to continue to play the game past just questing. There's also all the dungeons we have planned for the region that we're still working on as well, and a sneak peek at one of them is the big Leviathan in the middle of Lavea that I think players can access and walk up and kind of see some of the area so far. But yeah, I'll let more questions roll in for us to answer. There was my little blurb. Basically, crafting is next focus. Continued next focus.
We have a bunch of questions from previous Tavern Talks from Demethel that they've been reposting. One of which is, are you planning on making the leveling speed more logarithmic, as it is currently pretty much linear?
The leveling balance that we just redid the XP tables, and we do want to make it the new charts are much more, you're right, logarithmic instead of just monotonously linear. Those are not dialed in, and that's why, and even in this PTR, you just see the leveling is super sped up. But we also recognize that same issue in the current live and have adjusted the plans for launch on the way leveling feels. Also with difficulty, like working that into game difficulty was an interesting thing. We're addressing that at the same time. So the first few levels are a little more forgiving, but as you grow in power and the mobs grow in power, we expect the player to utilize skills more to survive. Right now, the current game doesn't lend itself to that. It's easy to just cheese things. It's easy to over level content super fast. And so we did make adjustments in that as well, which you'll see as we get towards more of the balanced version and polished versions of the PTR and launch.
Ray's asking, we'll see Guardians, Titans.
Not well. You'll see a dead one in Lavea, but there will be more on that in future content, as they are a very integral part of the story.
Sax also asked, what kind of love was archery?
Kind of what?
Love. They specifically mention were there bugs and errors fixed? Was damage adjusted? Just kind of general. What kind of love has archery been given?
At the moment, technically none, aside from fixing the warden spells so that your pets work. I know that one of your biggest, specifically to Sax, one of your biggest pet peeves is that the bow arrow goes right through the middle of your hand, and that is something we do intend to fix very shortly as we continue to work on things and update things.
Yeah. And for archery damage, those are being adjusted. Again, weapon damage is out of scope of this PTR, but we did archery. The biggest change to archery right now is the speed at which arrows leave and just the ranges and it not feeling so sluggish. And then we are changing the archery system itself, and that is not in scope for this right now. We're moving to an ammo-based archery system where you will use different types of arrows as your skills instead of rune drawing. But that's still in the planning phase. Again, resources and time constraint.
Yeah.
We know it's an issue.
We've got a lot of thought also going in just in general to how we want to structure and plan out the various variations on armors and weapons and things like that, and stats for those that we're constantly working on internally as we get close to, because we do want another PTR test that is focused on things specifically for armor, weapon, XP, balance for mobs, and all of those things. We're very much on the grindstone for that right now, working on it.
From Earthrin, they asked if armor or weapon set bonuses. I think
There will be that we have support for those, but none of the armor that you gather right now has set bonuses on them. But the first dungeon set you'll see in the next PTR is likely the first time you'll see a set bonus.
Yeah, that ties back into the previous explanation of we're creating a lot of different variants for some of our gear to kind of tie better into Freeforge. So if you want to, like my example every time we talk about it is that I like to play a little bit more of like a battle mage, like paladin style character, and so I want to wear robes and a wizard's hat and wizard's shoulders, but then plate everything else. And finding ways to allow players to get the gear that they want to have equipped with the stats that play towards what they want to build is very much in the forefront of how we're thinking those
things. Terranoob asked if there were any fishing changes since that wasn't the demo.
Changes mechanics to fishing are not changed. The biggest change is that you need the proper skill level to fish different fish in different spots, and you need to pay attention to the profession of leveling fishing. Mechanics for upgraded poles that have reels and can catch special fish are still something that's in planning. We just haven't had the resources to scoop that up yet, but it's in our design intent.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that being able to level the profession up. There isn't a fish right now in the PTR build that you can't fish and aren't high enough level for, because we're just focusing on that first two zone content. But that will be something that is a lot more prominent as you go further in. So if you get to the zones 3, 4, 5 and whatnot, and there are more fish to get and more cooking recipes, you won't be able to do those until you're
Sax also
yeah, if your community wanted to make an awesome trailer, that would be dope. We don't have a current trailer right now.
Oh, Jared did just point out that casting and reeling has been smoothed out a little bit to feel better.
Oh, good.
Stealth patch.
I was just about to ask the question that Sax just put in the chat there. They asked, will professions give XP towards character level so that players can enjoy a more combat-free experience if they would like?
Interesting note. That ties into original. They don't right now, but that does remind me of stuff we talked about like 2 years ago on can somebody get to max level in Ilysia without ever fighting anything. That's an interesting design challenge, but well, it's something to look at. Right now, profession XP belongs to professions and not character level.
That very much does align with original visions from the game towards Kickstarter. I think it would be good to explore those things.
Corvid had a question related to update frequency. If there is, ask how often can we expect smaller updates once this is.
So we've got a lot of things, even just today, that what y'all haven't seen because we've had it separate with the live version being so different, and we're now on a new landmass. The updates to the live version were much harder to do because we had already moved on and been working on completely different things that are functionality wise just completely incompatible with the live version of the game because we changed everything. The interaction system was totally different. So all of those small things like the skeletons aren't dropping the right thing and all that stuff became we can't go fix that anymore because it's not in the game anymore. So anytime we wanted to roll back and go make a change to the live build, we had to switch to a different branch and re-update and all these things and move things around. So that's why the update frequency slowed down a lot because we were working on all of this new content. As things continue forward, especially even just during this PTR, I won't say we'll be updating daily because that's wild. But for the for the coming weeks, I don't know how long we plan. It's kind of all based on feedback right now from the community on how long this current PTR will stay live before we pull it down, go do a little bit more work, and then come back up to test the rest of things. What I can say is that we are going to be updating pretty frequently, weekly, bi-weekly.
Yeah.
It won't go past a month or two before the next update for a good while,
Right.
because now y'all will start to see and be able to play the update frequency of how frequently we do builds, because we do builds so often internally. We just haven't been able to make them live because they're in Lavea.
Yep, and
also,
the full version of Lavea, so we can set expectations. The first launch that's going to go to live servers is actually half of the Lavean content. It's zones 1 through 4, and we want to get that onto live servers as fast as possible. So that content is levels 1 through 10, and then after that, we want to do levels 10 through 20, which also take place on Lavea and kind of wrap the storyline of Lavea up and set you up to the next region after that. But we want to keep this cadence kind of going. With the same thing we're setting up for these PTRs, like we want to establish this methodology that is, something on live, open a PTR, gather feedback, then push it to live, and just repeat that process, iteratively. And leave we plan to leave this PTR 1 up for a week, and then, probably at most, because you guys are going to finish the content and they're pretty fast. And then we want to get on to PTR 2, which is the contents in zone 3 and 4 and the dungeon, and then leave that up for a week and then get it down and then fix the issues we need to fix so we can roll that into a nice ball for live, and get that out to live and into people's hands. Because, the current live version of the game, to Devin's point, it's so hard to change because it's so ingrained in lessons learned and the code bases are dissimilar. And so we want to get the new back end of stuff, the new guts onto the live servers as fast as possible. So that's why I'm saying, our intent is that by late February, early March, that's on live, is because we're going to GDC in March. And we're not going to go to GDC with the current version of the game being what's available. So no, not April, no, not November. We need to, our full-on intent is to, by the time we land at GDC and we've got our booth set up at GDC, what people are playing at GDC is Lavea, and it also is on live servers, so they can get excited about what they see at GDC and actually go home and play it, instead of this disjointed experience that we had last year where we showed off cool stuff at GDC that did not relate anything to what was on live. That was a lesson learned for us.
I don't know that we even let the community know that what we took to GDC was a private build specifically tailored for GDC.
Oh, we did. Yeah. I remember having that conversation with multiple people here. Yeah.
So
it showed off some of the new stuff we were trying to
do.
do.
A lot of cool stuff. It just wasn't in the main game. So we were like, okay, we got to reconcile that, and we want to show off the main game so we can put all of our energy into what the players get, not what 100, 200 people get at our booth.
Yeah, I remember going up to the booth and you guys mentioning specifically that that it was not what was currently offered.
Right.
So we have 5 minutes until PTR, so I don't know if you guys wanted to add any closing comments or one last question.
I don't know. I feel like if anybody's got any like big, important lingering question, I think everybody's excited to go get in, and we're excited to go get in. I think some of us devs are going to be running around with a little Team 21 title next to our names, playing the game with everybody and saying hi.
Oh yeah, you can find devs now in the game because they've got a bright blue Team 21 title. So if you see one of us in the game, say hi.
We are now completely harassable in game.
Yep. Okay, well, with 4 minutes left, we should wrap this up. Again, thank you everybody. I say it all the time, and it's not tropey. I just make sure that I have to say it that we are a tiny team, and honestly, the only reason we've still survived this long is because we have a community that cares about us and are sticking with us. So 2025 is the year that we're really trying to grow this team and this project and shift to a focus of showing off our intent more than just talking about plans and having a product out on the market that really just doesn't work very well. I know it's fun to say that the live version is fun and it's a good game, and it doesn't even meet our internal bar for what we were going for. And we understand there's lots of problems with it, and we're really, to coin a term I'm going to steal from Jared, 2025 is the beginning of what we're going to do to celebrate our success as far as kind of dialing in the content and getting things back to where we really wanted them to be. So that means we're slowing down on our, oh my God, new idea, oh my God, new idea, oh my God, new idea, and just kind of focusing on those core things that we think are important to gameplay. And so this is the first time you guys are going to get to see that, and we're excited for it. We love you all. Stick with us, and yep, thank you.
Yeah. All right, see you guys in game. We'll make an announcement on the news channel and ping everybody once the servers are live.
And thank you, Mello. Appreciate it.
Oh yes, again, all the things.
Yep.
Yeah, no problem.
All the things. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Peace, gamers.